Team OLX, always dreaming, always doing, always questioning, taking risks, making mistakes, always learning, exploring, growing, succeeding, always welcoming, always listening, always making things better, quicker, easier, simpler. Trying new things, helping reuse old things, always getting the nicer car, the dream home, the better job, always getting the best deal. Making an impact, looking ahead, mindful of the planet we share, always leading, never standing still. OLX, always.
Okay, here we are. I want to get a quick show of hands before we start. So I'm assuming a lot of you are designers, but I want to double check that. How many designers, if you can show up your hands? Great, amazing. Do we have any product managers? I know we do, so awesome. Do we have some engineers? Nice. Any other outside that group, those groups? Content designer, yeah, you are a designer at heart, Lorena. I'm counting on you already. So I want to start walking us through the agenda for today and quickly introduce myself. I'm going to be your host tonight. So I'm Francisco, I'm from Argentina. I know my name sounds Portuguese, but it's not. I'm from Buenos Aires, from Argentina. I moved to Lisbon 6 years ago without kids. Now I have two Portuguese girlies. I joined this company almost a decade ago, which is insane for the tech industry, I know, but I think I get more excited every year. And I think it has to do with the people, the talent we have here, and the cool stuff we are actually building. And hopefully after today's masterclass, you will understand why. So today we'll have Andre Dinish presenting Don't Fear the Calculator. By the way, today Andre is turning 24, so he's already taking big risks. Then we have Gosha, who's here at the front. She'll be talking about how we can supercharge UX insights with Gen AI, a topic we are all interested in. She came all the way from Warsaw. So again, so good to have you here, Gosha, today. And then we'll have Ines, product designer at OLX, and Lorena, content designer at OLX, talking about agents. From solo to squad, building your personal design agent team. Super, super fun topic. So then after the presentations, we'll wrap up with a Q&A session. So I'm going to share the Slido link in a bit. Basically, for those that are not familiar with Slido, you will scan the QR code and you can add your questions there through all the presentations. We'll go through all the questions at the end. Please add your questions. This is at the heart of why we do sessions like this, is to exchange ideas and to learn from each other. So please add your questions so we can have fruitful discussions in the end. And after the Q&A, we'll have time for food and networking. Please don't be shy. It's very easy to recognize who are the ones working at OLX. We have some more people around. So please reach out, ask questions, talk to people. I think networking is also very, very important. And again, it's amazing to see the design community here in Lisbon. This is the QR code for the Slido. I'll wait some time for you guys to scan the code. It's amazing to see how everyone is showing their phones. Please, again, don't be shy, ask your questions. Those are the ones that will feed the discussions later on. All good? I'm seeing one phone already at the back. Great. So before we start, I want to talk a bit more about OLX and throw the question to you guys. How many brands are part of OLX? Does anybody know this? Don't be shy. You can just guess. Any numbers?
4.
Thank you. This is a bidding, right? Like an auction. Who pays more? 4? Just 4? 5. Okay. You are getting closer. 6. Okay, you're getting closer. 10 is too much, but so reality is that a lot of you don't know much about OLX, a lot of the cool stuff we do, and how many customers we support across Europe. So now we are serving millions of customers across 8 countries with around 64 million daily active listings. So people posting things on our ads, on our platforms. And recently this year, probably you are familiar with that, but we acquired La Centrale from France. So we are operating in these countries across Europe, and also South Africa is part of our business unit. For those who care about sustainability, here's something that we are really proud of. So last fiscal year alone, 27 million second-hand items were traded in our platforms. It's, I think, a massive impact, and a big part of what working at OLX is so meaningful. So, if you're passionate about building a more sustainable world, we'd love to have you on the journey. So again, take your phones out, take a moment to scan this QR code, and you will get into our careers.olxgroup.com, where you can check all the open positions we have. Also, this is a great, icebreaker for discussion in the networking. Feel free to reach out. We are super happy, not just me, but the rest of the team, to talk about the open positions and the opportunity you have. We want to bring A players, we want to bring the best talent, and hopefully this talent is here tonight. So before we start, I want to share a very quick reflection on what is happening today, right? I think we are all navigating a very challenging era, right, with AI. And I think what is important to me as a reflection to share today is like we are all in this together, right? There's a lot of noise, there's a lot of hype, there's a lot of anxiety, right? We are all, questioning like, would design still be relevant in the upcoming years? But I think that's why it's very important that we get together as a community, that we talk about this, that we share, that we exchange experiences, challenges. I think the important message is that you are not alone. We are all in this together. We are also exploring. We're also trying to understand what is going on, what is happening. And I think it's very important to work on this together as a community, once again. The second thing is that, and probably people on my team are tired of listening to me saying this, but I think it's very important that we shift the mindset. This is a very challenging, era, and I think we need to have growth mindset and genuine curiosity. There's a lot of things happening at the moment, but we can anticipate that. We can, expand our knowledge and get, 1% better every day, understanding new technologies, how these work, how can we benefit from them, right? A lot of these you will see in today's presentations, but again, it's very important. If there's one thing I want you guys to leave, from my side, the session today is that you need to shift the mindset. It's very important. And last but not least, and going back to this opportunity that is around this change, because every change comes with opportunity, right? Is that we are creative people, right? We are builders. And you will see a lot of this in the presentations. So it's important that we anticipate what is coming, or at least we try to anticipate what is coming. AI can really boost how we work. And I think it's also on us to shape the future that is coming. And before I pass on to the presenters, I'm always sharing this quote with my team that says, AI won't replace designers. Designers who use AI will replace those who don't. So I hope you get a lot of good insights and learnings from the team today, and then you can take those insights with you and act on them. Now, let's give a warm round of applause and welcome Andre to the stage.
Three? Yeah, you guys listening to me? Great.
Yes, yes, yes.
Amazing. Hi, you guys. All good?
Woo!
So, I want to start with a little bit of a story here. So, there was this day where I came back from vacations, and I had this alignment with my PM, which is on the crowd. And we were aligning on some things, and suddenly he slides over his computer and says like, oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, but I just have been exploring this vibe-coded prototype that I have been doing. And it was like a full-on prototype from beginning to end with like all of the flow, all of the screens, everything working. And I was there sitting looking like this. I was like, yeah, really? You did that alone? That's amazing. On the inside, I was looking a little bit more like this. But yeah, this is not a new story, right? I suspect that many of you have went through something similar recently, either with PMs or with engineers or with other positions. The thing is that these new tools are really reshaping the way we work. And after this initial shock, what I've decided to do is I took some steps back and I started to analyze the situation. And the analysis of that is what I want to bring for you this presentation. I want to talk with you about the conclusions that I've met. So this presentation will not be about prompts you can use, how can you use some tools to improve your workflow or some magic trick. For more technical advice, you'll have great presenters next. This presentation will be a little bit more of what does AI mean for product designers, or what can it mean? And what was my journey from being concerned to getting excited, actually, about using these type of tools. So I wanted to start with the really hard question, which is, are designers actually being replaced by AI? And the answer is yes, some of them, sort of. It's hard, it's complex. And so when I started digging about this topic, I found this really cool article on Financial Times that had a really good exploration from two of their biggest research analysts. And what they found out is that for some specific roles, for example, freelance graphic designers, freelance content designers, and even some other roles like junior developers, yes, we could see some slight decrease of new roles and vacancies. But this is something to question. What's the side of the company? Well, the side of the company looks like a great story, right? More done with fewer people, less money on external people if they actually get more work, cut costs on routine tasks that are easily replaceable. It's a win, but it's not actually a win. And when I started to dig out a little bit on this article and others, I realized that for this kind of specific tasks that we do as designers, it's a little bit more complex because for you guys, you guys probably have tried to auto-generate multiple layouts and prototypes before. And you probably came across some weird things. Sometimes the flows even look like academically like perfect. They have the right components, right hierarchy, a good flow. Things are working, but there's something missing. There's something that it's not working quite well. And sometimes we are not able to actually put our finger on what exactly it is. And the thing is, probably because there was no intent, no point of view. The thing is, design is more complex than just if this, then that. And sometimes it also does like crazy things like this. This was supposed to be an angry squirrel. But yeah. And so I actually understood like, yeah, design is not a if this, then that logic tree. So it cannot be that replaceable, right? Design is deeply human, and it requires things that only humans can give, like judgment. And so the really cool thing about the article that I found on the Financial Times was that from the research that they did on big markets such as the US, the UK, Western Europe, they found out this, that Sarah O'Connor says, "For now, I don't think there's strong evidence for AI-induced job losses. Correlation is not causation." And she says this because of the justification that comes after from John, which is the strongest AI is displacing human workers story you can tell from data is that Gen AI is displacing tasks, but not jobs. The more a job consists of clearly defined tasks, the more vulnerable it is. And that led me to think like, am I convinced that is? I was not yet convinced. And so what I decided to do was I looked at history, because usually history informs of what will happen on the future, right? History repeats itself. And so I found these 3 examples that I want to explore with you guys. The first one is the electronic calculator. So when the electronic calculator actually became widely available for the public because of reduced prices, and then with the resurgence of like spreadsheet software and like Google Excel and all of the Microsoft Excel actually, and things that we nowadays know really well, people were really afraid that this would take the jobs of like bookkeepers and accountant clerks. This is an article from 1985 that I found from the Washington Post, which says, "Computers set to zap clerical jobs." Basically on this article, they say that electronic office is going to wipe out a whole category of white-collar work. This is familiar, right? But the thing is that from the 80s on, what happened is that these kind of positions, yes, dropped by roughly a quarter, but what happened next is that the accountants, auditors, financial managers, analysts, and other more complex tasks, jobs grew by 150%, which means that jobs that relied only on specific tasks shrank, and higher skilled jobs actually started to be more required. And so the value shifted. The value shifted from doing the math to deciding what to do with the math. Let's look also to ATMs. Back before ATMs existed, we had bank tellers. And then when ATMs appeared, people were afraid that there were not going to be bank tellers anymore, because ATMs are machines, they can work 24/7, they don't need vacancies, they don't need vacations, they don't need salary, they don't need any of that. So easy to replace, right? But that's not actually what happened. Actually what happened is that ATMs doubled the demand for bank tellers. And that happened because the number of operating benches doubled. And since they doubled, they needed more bank tellers as well as the ATMs. And so what happened to the bank tellers is that the value shifted. They went from counting cash and handling cash to actually serving customers. And then a really familiar example for us, which is Photoshop, Illustrator, and other kinds of design tools. Things like this have happened on the past. And this actually reduced a bunch of jobs that we had previously, like pays up artists and manual retouchers for photos, and even like traditional typographers. All of this had to be reduced in favor of technology. But this is a really cool and interesting quote from Ashley Steele from Adobe. Think about the invention of the camera. People thought painting was going to go away, and it didn't. It's just a new type of content that emerged. And this actually clicked something in my head, which is, yeah, all of those artists didn't stop actually doing design. They just shifted the tools that they were using to design. But the creative process was still there. They were just not doing the hard work in the same way they did before. So the value shifted from manual craft to creative direction. And then I realized that this was a pattern. The value shifted from repeatable to irreplaceable, from automated to human. And then I was like, okay, but this is more complex, right? What are the big AI companies doing at the moment? Well, they are trying to find product designers and content designers as well. And that happens for a specific reason. It's interesting because they could be the first ones saying, we don't need designers anymore, we can automate all of the work. But none of them are doing that. All of these companies that are really known for AI, for being AI first, are actually trying to find designers that actually are AI literate or use AI as tools. And this is a cool quote from Google CEO. The future of AI is not about replacing humans, it's about augmenting human capabilities. And so I started asking myself, like, what are the human capabilities? And then I asked myself, what are the AI capabilities? Like, I didn't know anything anymore. And so I actually searched and tried to understand and summarize both of them. What is AI actually good at? What are product designers and content designers and designers in general actually good at? Let's start by AI. What is AI actually good at? Well, the first one that is easy is speed. It can generate a bunch of things like images, content, layouts in seconds. And this usually takes a lot of time for people. It also is really good at scale because it's used to run in huge data sets. So it can analyze a bunch of, for example, interviews or documents and really understand the forest well. Sometimes not the individual trees, as we know. Then it's really good at repetition because it does not get tired. It can, for example, check if the accessibility is being met in a bunch of pages in the same way, the same task with the same rules, and it does not get tired. And then evidence. It is good at evidence because it was built to find patterns, to find correlations, anomalies of patterns, and so usually it is pretty good at understanding the big picture and what composes that big picture. But what are designers good at? Well, to start off, I would like to think empathy, right? Right? I'm joking. We bring connection, cultural context, and basically emotional intelligence to the table. So if AI can tell us that most of the users dropped at step 3, we are the best ones to understand why they dropped and what were they feeling. We also have judgment. And this is something that AI simply cannot have because we know how to live within ambiguity, and we know how to bend the rules and when to bend the rules, and what are the trade-offs. What is more important here? What is more important there? That is something that is really valuable in our day-to-day work, and we are always doing this. Then we have creativity, which is interesting because AI is really good, it's fantastic, at remixing things that exist. But it cannot actually create a solution from something that didn't have a precedent. And that's something that only designers can do. When something does not have a precedent and a pattern, what should we do? And then, meaning. We are storytellers, right? We can grab a bunch of data points and present them in a consumable way for both our users and stakeholders. And so when I realized all of these things, it clicked to me like, okay, AI can give us, for example, scale of evidence, but only designers can actually understand that evidence meaning and direction, so how to use it. And that's really specific. And then I started to realize, oh no, there are more combinations. This is more deep than that. And so I realized that they kind of mirror themselves. The things that AI brings to the table, which are the repeatable tasks, we bring the opposite to the table, which are the unreplaceable tasks. And so we actually can combine them in a bunch of ways. For example, if we are identifying 1, 2, 3, no worries. Pause for advertisement. You guys can, okay, amazing. Identifying the problems through data. So for example, AI is really good at going through a bunch of, you guys cannot listen to me? Okay. Should I continue? You guys can listen to me, right? Amazing. So AI can go through a bunch of documents, a bunch of interviews, and understand, once again, that someone is dropping off, people are dropping off at step 3. But if the AI is the radar that something's happening, designers are the best ones identifying what's the signal and why is that happening. Other example, when creating content. Lorena, this one is for you. AI is really good at giving a bunch of options for a specific content or even for a bunch of layouts at once. But only designers have the empathy and the judgment to actually understand when to use what. This here sounds emotionally loaded too much. This here, it could break the trust. This here, it's a little bit tone deaf. And that's really important to understand. And next, we can also use it, for example, to kickstart things. We can do crazy eights with AI. It can generate a bunch of things at once that we can use to kickstart a flow. But when AI explodes with option, we need to shape it into a clear vision with our judgment and then combine it with our creativity. So I realized that there are several combinations of how can we bring our value to the table in a way that only using AI, we are not doing the full thing. And so I realized that, okay, if the things that are uniquely human are the actual value that designers bring to the table, and if we, most of the time, actually spend doing these boresome tasks of like repeating this, repeating that, what if we can actually, with the help of AI, occupy more of that time actually bringing the value that only human product designers can bring to the table? AI is displacing tasks, not jobs. It reminded me of that. And then I realized, yeah, because the true value of product designers is on our deeply human skills. And AI can amplify that. Remember where we started. It was here. I mean, here. I was a little bit terrified in the beginning. And then I realized that this story is actually completely different. I was a little bit afraid because I was like, is my PM like crossing the line? Is he stepping over what I'm doing? Or am I doing the same when I'm vibe coding to help a front end? But actually, what's interesting is that responsibilities are blurring. And for me, what I realize is that with the help of these tools that democratize the way we work with other people, we all become builders. And in the middle, what we find is a unique combination of skills, of interests, of values that are unique to our teams. And so, I would like to say that we probably shouldn't fear AI for the same reason that accountants shouldn't fear calculators. They are not replaceable because now something can do the math for them, as well as we are not replaceable because now something can push pixels for us. once again, the quote that you brought. AI won't replace designers. Designers who use AI will replace those who don't. And so I would invite you guys to don't fear the calculator. Actually, fear being the person that refuses to pick it up. And actually invite you guys to be the kind of designer AI cannot replace. Thank you so much.
Hello. It's not working. Okay. Okay, fine. I can. Yes, I have. Yes, yes. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. I don't. There's. There is a problem with microphone, so I will try to talk louder so everyone can hear. So I'm product designer. I'm Gosia Dymowska, and I'm product designer at OLX. It's a pleasure to be here at the Masterclass today. And Lisbon is so beautiful. And the weather is much better than in Warsaw. It was snowing yesterday, actually. So we just hear from Andre how AI can accelerate our work, but how we can move from theory to practice. It's always good to learn from real examples. So today I want to share my experience using AI to support me in the part of a design process. To fully understand the challenge that I had, let's first get some context on the OLX rating system for the services category. So from the discovery, we knew that our seekers have a problem evaluating whether a service provider that they found on OLX is trustworthy enough to hire him. From the other hand, we knew that service providers could not build their reputation and recognition among competitors because we have a rating system, but only for online transactions and only for sellers. We designed the solution for that problem, but we needed to test it with users. And we wanted to find out a few things. First, can people find the rating info quickly? Then, do people understand what the ratings mean? Does the rating help them choose a service? And finally, is it easy to submit a review? We ran an unmoderated usability testing on Maze. I'm not sure if you are familiar with that tool. Could you raise your hand if, oh, it's nice. Almost all of you know. So you know that this is a really nice tool for online testing, where you can share your prototypes with users, ask some questions, and get the feedback in different formats. So you can have open comments. You can have voice recording. You can have also screen recording. So for this test, we gathered feedback from 30 participants. We had 2 usability tasks and asked 8 open-ended questions. One test lasted on average about 3 minutes per participant. So when you multiply that out, there is nearly 90 minutes of voice recording and screen recording in total to listen to, plus all the open comments to read and categorize, which is a lot. You may wonder how much time I usually spend on the synthesis. So for this type of project, I typically plan from 10 working days to 5 working days. And in this case, I had only 5 days. And considering also that usually I have really packed calendar, like off top, we all know that situation when sometimes meetings can take 1 day from your week. So it was my situation. So actually I have, in reality, 4 days to analyze everything. So I was wondering, can AI speed up the process? That was my hope. Here is another challenge that I wanted to share with you. So when I'm designing solutions, I'm always super curious about how users will use my solutions. And I have some predictions, and I try to imagine myself as a user on the user journey step by step. And of course, as a creator, I'm attached to my ideas, and sometimes I get blind to some insights or problems. And I think that we all need to admit that we are biased, just simply. And I think this is especially evident when we analyze feedback on our own solution. And I hoped AI could stay neutral and help me fight my own biases. But hey, let's put our artistic ego aside. Because synthesis is not just for the sake of checking whatever users loved our ideas and our solutions. There is a really important goal for that. And it was also important for me. So I hope that at the end, a good synthesis can help me find opportunities which I can discuss with my team and make better decisions. So now the practical part. Let's jump to the details on how to use AI to analyze the user feedback. So the process actually was the same as usual. I went through the raw data, I watched the recordings, I listened to the feedback from users. But instead of making notes myself, I used AI tool to structure findings into patterns and clusters, resulting into actionable UX insights. So first, we need to get the raw data to use in prompts. So if you are using Maze, probably you know that. But here's the tip. You can download the CSV file from Maze, which you can see here, for every answer. And you can attach it to the prompt using ChatGPT or other AI tool. When it comes to the recordings, you can also download all recordings in bulk. So if you go to the side menu, settings, there is an export section, and you can get the link from your email to download everything. This data I used in Notebook LM. Is anyone using Notebook LM? Oh, so it's nice because you will learn something today. So AI, this is a Notebook LM. This is AI tool, which is perfect for the research, because it can summarize and make interesting connections between the data points. So you can see I uploaded all the recordings. They are here. They are, it takes some time. You need to be patient. But then you can use your prompts inside the Notebook LM. And I could not only ask for patterns or summary, but also, which is really nice, if you are using prompts, and here you have on the left side participants' recordings attached. Then you can also find quotes related to a specific user problem that Notebook LM highlighted. So we can see here there is some numbers, and you can go through the recording, the transcript, and you can find everything here related to the patterns that you are asking for. So, data in place, we can start prompting, yes? Yes? Yes and no. Yes, because I think it's really important to highlight this, because it matters how you are structure your prompts. And in this process, I use a specific framework to ensure that, that I will have good results. And I can then reuse and iterate on them. So first, I set boundaries by defining a specific role for AI. Then I provided constraints, so AI knew where to focus on without going too broad. Then I give a specific task with a clear goal to ensure I get an answer that I need at each step of the process. And then I asked the AI to structure the results so I could understand them more easily and use them in the next step. And finally, I support my prompt with a data source to provide necessary information and context. If you skip this part, there is a risk that you will end up with too vague, generic results and endless iteration. Been there, done that. So I think that better structured prompt give you a better results, and it will be closer to what you are aiming for. But let's get back to the process. So my first step was to uncover the most common challenges users faced during the test. So I asked Notebook LM to identify key patterns for each question and tasks. And I got a list of problems user mentioned the most. So you can see here, it's like my library of answers from the Notebook LM. And I have patterns and quotes for every task and every question separately. Then I collected all the patterns or quotes from all the questions into one space. I just copy-paste them. It's like manual work, no AI. And then I asked ChatGPT to turn these findings into more user problem-oriented clusters. And this wasn't a one-time action. I iterated a few times, adjusting the prompt, and switching between ChatGPT and Gemini to find better names or to make them place in a better cluster. But I wasn't fully satisfied, to be honest, with the results. So again, manual work. I created some clusters or named them just using my knowledge and the context that I had for this project. So clusters in place, then I used them because they gave me an overview of the problems users are facing in the new rating system. But my goal was to end up with insights that I can share with my stakeholders. So I used ChatGPT again to summarize each cluster into a UX insight with user behavior. And again, to achieve more satisfying results, I iterate on the prompt. And I was highlighting a more specific part, for example, to shape it more around user behavior or around the motivation that user had. And as I mentioned, my goal was to not just to organize the data in Figure or in another tool. I wanted to reveal the opportunities. And AI can also help with that. So I selected the most relevant insights. And then I asked AI to create opportunities using the How Might We framework, which can be another step, like it could be a first step for ideation, actually. So you can see the journey from the research to ideation phase. So, by the end, I was able to deliver the synthesis, including detailed documentation and key findings in just 2 days. Yeah. And insights that I've shared with my stakeholders have helped me inform decisions and set up priorities on the next improvements. We had a conversation on Slack channel. Gosia, please share users' feedback. We are so curious about it. Please, please share. So I shared just few, 5 most important, and documentation attached, linked to the Confluence page. And then conversation begins. Okay, there is we are confirming our assumptions. What we are doing in Q3, and so on and so on. So you see that we can spark the discussion with insightful opportunities. And those insights were actionable mainly because I verified and decided what I want to share, and I didn't use everything AI provided me. So here is an example. I need to be honest. Yeah, I didn't pay enough attention to my prototype, and on one of my screens, I had the same person, the same user here, who gave a rating twice, like the same name, but one rating was 5 stars, and then another one was 1 star, which will not happen in reality because our feature will not allow it, will not allow users to provide rating for the same service provider. But AI didn't know that. So lesson learned. Next time, I really paid attention to my prototype when I had ratings, like 100 ratings, then I copy-paste 100 ratings to make sure that user will not get confused. But I didn't use this insight in my synthesis. Remember, I hoped that AI could help me with my biases. Here is another example. One of the insight was about how users read reviews. But because I was mainly focused on another aspects, I didn't consider how much negative reviews are impacting user perception, and that they don't trust perfection. They first check negative ratings. And I hadn't noticed that until AI pointed it out on in the answers. As you have noticed, I didn't use just one AI tool to do the job. But it's good to know the limitation of the tool you are using and which tool to use for what and when. Sometimes it takes an AI village to get to a satisfying result. So, for example, NotebookLM can be your qualitative research assistant. It can excel at digesting large volumes of transcripts, and he can provide your user quotes. Then ChatGPT can be your data analyst and writer. It excels at cleaning messy data and drafting your final report. But even with a perfect tool setup, we should not expect that AI will do everything. Actually, it's a good news, yes? Because we can be the drivers and we can guide AI through the challenge and not the other way around. As you saw, I did some manual work in my process. which is still fine. For me, it was a really good learning journey where I could dive deep into user feedback. And last reflection, as a designers, we usually have a hard time with documentation. It's something we push to the end because we are too busy building, creative things. What I really like about AI is how it makes documentation quicker and easier to share. Whenever I need a Confluence page with all the things that I need to provide, or just key findings, like 5 sentences that I can share just on a Slack channel. And during the process, I started saving the prompt iterations and organizing them in the Figma. And it helped me come up with my own process that I can use again later. And actually share with you guys. So here, there's a bonus. You can scan the QR code to the Notion space where I saved all the prompts that I use on this journey. It's really small, like you don't need to expect like a big thing, but I hope that will help you use it on your own processes, and I hope that it will speed up the work. So now let's ask again. Can AI speed up the process? Yes, I think. But direction, judgment, and decisions are yours, ours. Thank you.
Amazing, Gosha. Great presentation. So guys, now we're going to do the following. We're going to take a break for 15 minutes, and then we'll go back. We can go to the cafeteria next to this room, and then we'll be back in 15 minutes. Take advantage to go to the bathroom if you want. Start, fostering some conversations with people, and then we'll go back to listen to Lorena and Ines. So yeah, please be punctual. 15 minutes. We're back. This is 7:45. We'll start the presentation. Thank you. For the ones on the streaming as well, we'll be back in 15 minutes. I was thinking, where did I left my... Welcome back, everybody. Is it working? Yeah? Can you hear me at the back? Yes, working. Awesome. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you. So now, after having Andre presenting a more philosophical question, right, and then Gosha being super tactical on how to respond to that question, now we'll see how we can expand and move from solo to squad. And from that, I want to give a very warm welcome to the stage to Lorena and Ines, and a big round of applause as well. Ines.
Hello, everyone. Ooh, I'm Lorena. I'm a content designer at OLX. This is Ines, a product designer at OLX. We know we're the only ones standing between you and pizza right now. At least for those of us here at the office, sorry, and hello to everyone watching the live stream. Thank you for bearing with us, and let's get to it. So, since our masterclass, and well, all the others, is about AI, we thought we'd make an AI version of ourselves. So that's me, this is Ines. Uncanny. You can expect us to pop in and out throughout this presentation. So the story that we want to share with you today starts with a big imbalance. As many content designers know, are there any content designers? No? Yeah. See, there are rarely enough of us, and this is proof. It almost feels like content designers are the endangered species of the design world. Actually, Ines, did you know, statistically speaking, this is true, you're more likely to find a perfectly organized Figma file than a second content designer in your team?
Is it my file?
Sometimes it's your file, sometimes it's not. Anyway, I'm of course only talking about our direct team at OLX. We have more content designers in our extended team in motors and real estate, so shout out to them, Bartek, Marta, Dana, and Zuza. But yes, there is rarely enough of us out there. And in our team, it's no different. We have one content designer and this many product designers. And we're hiring. And let me tell you, that's a lot of product designers. That's 19 product designers to a single content designer, to be exact. And this imbalance brings some challenges. So it means that from the content designer's point of view, there are a dozen of initiatives happening at the same time. A new feature, a new flow, experiments, edge cases that we all forgot about, all at the same time. And there's never enough time to go through everything in detail. And all these initiatives, they have entirely different scopes. They are meant for different users, they have different constraints. So there's a lot of context switching as well. And things get confusing sometimes. You know, this one time I was writing for a flow meant for job seekers, and an hour later I was writing for a flow meant for sellers, and I was asking them to upload their CV. You know, that's when I know it's time for a nap. And there are a lot of Figma files. Half my job is finding the right one. The other half is trying to remember why I opened it in the first place. So yeah, all this requires prioritizing some tasks over others. And it means, again, that not everything is going to be reviewed, or at least it's not going to get enough attention. And the thing is, a lot of the content that designers write already conveys what it should. It's just missing a few things. Maybe a term is off, maybe a small grammar issue slipped through. Tiny things, but they add up. And it's exactly the kind of work that doesn't require a content designer's full attention, but still needs to be done. Here's a very simple example, and I notice now that it's very tiny, from our ad posting page, but it says, create your listing and write more details about the product you're selling. Can we all agree that this is a very clear instruction? Yes? Yes? Yes. Yes. It's pretty clear. I'm a seller. I'm creating my listing. I need to write details about the product I'm selling. That's clear. But as any content designer, our glossary of terms is like imprinted in our brains. And I can immediately tell that there are two terms that are not consistent with our glossary. We don't use listing, we use ad. We don't use product, we use item. And it looks also like a grammar issue went through. Instead of you are, the imaginary product designer wrote your. So we're all human, it happens. And after seeing a few of these cases, it got me thinking, could an agent, an AI agent, help designers spot these issues and inconsistencies before they land on my lap?
Cool. Meanwhile, and note, it's a tough act to follow a content designer with storytelling. So yeah, cool. But yeah, I'm Inish. I'm one of the 19 product designers who are lucky enough to work with Lorena, presenting her with unorganized Figma files. As we do, I do tackle the end-to-end experience for one of our core seller experience. And as a generalist, I do love how each new project brings a new set of challenges and requires a new, unique approach. That might also sound familiar and resonate with some of you. So, and this allows me to continuously innovate not just the experience I work on, but the way I go about doing things. But sometimes this highlights a gap. It requires a skill set or a deep knowledge in a specific domain of design that could require a bit of digging and a bit more research. And that might take time, right? But we don't always have all the time in the world. And because taking our time can risk becoming a bottleneck. And who here loves becoming a bottleneck? So many hands. Okay. All right, and the truth is, you don't have time. We need to work on our timing. See, content design sabotage. All right. Honestly, at times, it can feel like you're the living embodiment of some of the internet's most popular memes. You can see the bullying, especially by the hiding in the bushes meme. My eyes are not that big. Okay. All right. So, again, I came to the same conclusion as Lorena. Could an agent actually help me fill in those gaps? And why agents? All right, so unlike the standard LLM, and who here has actually used LLMs? Raise the hands. Yes, all right. I saw a hand, like a shy little hand going up. Okay. Unlike the standard LLM, agents can have their own knowledge base, providing guidance that is aligned more specifically with our need. That makes it more focused. And we can also bake in guardrails into the agent's configuration. I don't mean to sound nerdy, it just happens. And this makes it easier to spot hallucinations while also helping us to ensure that every interaction is more consistent and can provide more reliable and consistent outputs.
And with both of these things, we can also make it easier for people to start interacting with agents and to write good prompts themselves. And why agents? It's also really worth mentioning that our mother company, Prozis, is very into AI. They see AI as a strategic partnership, priority rather, and again, there's a strong internal push for everyone to build their own agents, and we actually have very capable infrastructure to do this. This is Tokan. It's an internal AI platform created by Prozis. It's available to everyone at OLX and other Prozis companies. It allows us to use and test different AI models, and it allows us to build our own agents. And agents have been a big thing over here and everywhere else. You know, the Monday after Inez and I agreed to do this masterclass, Notion came out with a bunch of agents. Jira has Rovo now. Dovetail is also in on the action. Frankly, it seems like everyone is getting an agent these days. Everyone gets an agent.
Yes, and please mind the disclaimer.
Yes. But this made us pause.
It did.
Agents are no doubt a very trendy topic, but the thing is, most agents out there are task-based. We call them utilitarian because we like big words that are hard to pronounce in stressful situations. Yes. But it's actually a question we hear very frequently now. Think of a repetitive task you do every day, like Andrea actually mentioned in his presentation. Think about how an agent can do that task for you. But the thing is, Inez and I knew that a task-based agent was not enough, at least for what we wanted. We needed something more. We needed domain experts. But could agents do that? Could it be done? Why not?
All right, so mind the gaps. Okay, how many of you have been to the London Underground? No? Okay, cool. We knew we had our work cut out for us at the start. So again, mentioned nerdy earlier, let me get into it. How much do you feel like you know about AI? How AI literate are you? Like, you're okay? Yeah, all right. So truth is, agents are LLMs in essence, and they carry a lot of baggage in what I like to poetically call inheriting their father's sins. Okay, so let's look at the family tree. And again, we like big words that are really hard to pronounce in situations like this. So LLMs are sycophants. I don't know if I said that right, but they will agree with you to a fault, looking for cues in your prompts to tell you exactly what you want to hear. How many of you had an experience, like, remember your first experience with an LLM and they told you, you're brilliant, you're so insightful. All right, ask an LLM, for example, what happened to my lunch? And it might respond, maybe you ate it and you forgot. But ask it, did my dog eat my lunch? And it will likely tell you, of course it did. You were so perceptive. Now, as LLMs don't actually know facts, they spew out responses that answer to probability, not accuracy. And this leads to potentially inconsistent and unreliable responses. So ask an LLM, fill in the blanks. My dog ate my blank. And it's probably going to respond something like lunch, bread, homework. If my dog, it's probably going to tell you Easter almonds, but let's move on. And because this is a probabilities game, LLMs can actually turn out really different outputs for the same input. And this makes agent behavior very unpredictable. Again, lunch, bread, and homework. Now, there's more to AI than just LLMs. There's Gen AI, which all designers hate and love at the same time. As Gen AI tools, agents are derivative, famous insult among the creative community. It remixes training data to generate outputs with no real original thinking involved. And they're also opaque, and this cares because we sign up to do a talk about how to use agents responsibly and ethically. And Gen AI being opaque, not using sourcing, not respecting intellectual property is something that feels very close to all of us designers. And finally, because I feel like the room has already gone down a little bit, as a product of machine learning, agents are inherently biased with flawed and limited data. They really don't know what they don't know. And they're also prone to hallucination, and not the fun kind. They just don't know facts. And because they have very limited memory, losing track of earlier conversations, they also get confused with dealing with very complex requests. Cool. So why agents? We already dealt with the inherited limitations. Handling agents, simply put, really needs care and a sound understanding of these limitations. And if you are on board with AI, and I hope you are, I hope that you dig into. I know this is a complex domain, but try to make it in a way that you can digest. Now, could adoption suffer as a result? If a lot of people's experience with LLMs has built mistrust, then you probably don't really use it that much. And we find that among our community and others, a lot of people divide themselves into two camps. The ones who use LLMs and may simply prefer to default back to what they know instead of using these agents, and the ones who really want nothing to do with any of these things. And finally, one of the biggest advantages in using AI agents is being able to add a bunch of additional context that is really specific to you. You don't need to keep adding it over and over again like you do with an LLM. You kind of have it baked in by default. And that makes it a lot easier. Like, for example, here, we can attach frameworks, documents, templates to an agent instead of having to do it all the time. But here at OLX, we actually need to do a bit of work around that. We have some stuff written up. Other stuff still needs some standardization. But for this purpose, we really can't wait for perfection. Our agents, we know they can be useful now. And we can, with time, work on our documentation, compile it, add it to the agents, and make them even better.
So we were aware of all these gaps, and we knew we needed to account for them. So, do you want to meet the squad? Yes. Let's meet the squad.
Yes. Okay, sorry.
Wait, hang on, there's a problem. Did you reboot the agents?
You really can't do that.
Oh no. Oh, that's our infamous ice cream error. Let's try one more time. There we go. Everyone meet Lexi. Lexi is our eldest, and yes, I call her she, which still freaks Inez out a little bit.
It does.
She's our internal content design agent, and this is what she can do for our product designers. Lexi reviews content that's already in good shape, basically, and she checks whether it meets our minimum content standards. What does that mean? It means that she namely checks for typos and grammar mistakes and for consistent terminology based on our glossary. It's great for product designers because they don't need to wait for my answer or read through documentation. No one likes that. And it's great for me because a big chunk of my job is done before I even open the Figma file. And remember, there are a lot of Figma files. And this is exactly where Lexi can help. But there are limits to what Lexi can and can't do. She isn't designed to do actual content design work. She can't write copy for you from scratch. She won't make strategic decisions. That still falls on me. And she won't translate content. That still falls on our translators, at least for now. What we really want out of Lexi is to help designers spot content issues early, and surfacing terminology and issues with style early on helps me save a little bit of time, yes, but it also gives designers a chance to stress test their designs and shape them according to our content standards. It avoids, for example, them having to make layout changes later because of, for example, a long term in a certain language. As a result, all designers also improve their content literacy because they gain more knowledge about our content standards. Is there someone else you want to introduce, Ines?
Sure thing. All right, so everyone please, okay. Sorry. Yep, let's go again.
Oh,
okay,
sorry.
Cool. We couldn't help it, the babies were cute, so. Right. All right, so here's Ali, Cody, Darko, and Gambit. And with Lexi, they make the 5 core members of our initial squad. So let's meet Ali first. Ali loves long walks on the beach. If you love long walks on the beach, remember LLMs love to please. But yeah, Ali will also help you to ensure that your designs are accessible and inclusive. So, and I'll kind of review it quite succinctly for the sake of time and pizza. Ali will help you assess your designs for accessibility compliance. And this applies not only to static assets, but even flows, which is quite useful. It will also help recommend and brainstorm accessible alternatives. And anybody has ever explored the accessibility guidelines? Anybody had fun with that? So Ali can help. Now, there are limits and boundaries to what Ali can do. Ali cannot conduct proper accessibility audits. She does not provide legal or compliance issues. I do have a mind with using pronouns, but I just did. And yeah, and she doesn't replace contact with your team or actual user testing. Now, what we want out of Ali, if Ali behaves, is that we will see enhanced accessibility expertise amongst our team. We also hope to see accessibility baked in much earlier in the design process, and hopefully we'll go from fixing accessibility issues in our product to just not having them by default. And we really want Ali to help our designers become not just more confident, but also better advocates for accessibility. And here's Cody, which I still think might have been a little inspired in me. Sweet. Okay, and Cody is here to help you make sure your designs are dev-worthy and handoff ready. And you can, again, review your designs with Cody, but for feasibility and technical side of things. But Cody, very importantly, should not replace proper consultation with your team. Cody will help you come better prepared for discussions. It might help you to discuss technical limitations and constraints with your work earlier on, but Cody is here to help you bridge the gap to your devs. And Cody wants you to think implementation first. Like I said, consider technical implementation and feasibility earlier in the process. Become a better partner to your devs. Find a common language. And of course, all of us designers to find some technical literacy. And now we go to Darko, the moodier one. All right, and Darko helps you protect your users from dark patterns, okay? And working in an e-commerce platform, this is a really tricky landmine. All right, so as before, Darko will review designs and flows. They will suggest alternatives. They have access to our internal legal guidelines, but also regulations and legislation that regulate this sort of thing. But Darko does not replace, again, consultation with legal when required. Darko will actually suggest, if finding risks in your designs, to consult with legal. And what we want, again, we want dark patterns in design ethics to be taken earlier into the design process. We want designers to become advocates and confident in arguing for ethical design. All in all, we want a more ethical design culture. And Gambit. Gambit is our UX strategy, little chess master. And Gambit's do's. Gambit doesn't do. Gambit does. All right. So Gambit will help you go from opportunity brief or PRDs to your design brief and actual design work. They're here to help you brainstorm and find gaps and open questions in, when you're tasked with doing the work. And Gambit would also help you to manage especially tough stakeholder conversations and just approach the work more strategically. Again, Gambit does not replace you committing to building a healthy relationship with your stakeholders. And what we want out of Gambit, we want more systematic strategic thinking. We want designers to think before they start doing. We want designers to pick the right methods for the right work, and we want Gambit to help advise on improving stakeholder alignment. So there you have it, the first members of our squad.
Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. We gave them names and blobs, albeit adorable, cute little blobs. What is this, some kind of personification? So some people might find it uncomfortable, so let's address that. Yes, we gave them names and we gave them blobs. We went back and forth on this, but we thought, giving the agents names is not a way of humanizing them. They're tools, and tools also have names. And this was purely a practical decision. Like imagine if we were in a design critique and the designer said, oh yeah, I asked for help from the content design specialist AI agent. Or just Lexi. We wanted their names to be easy, short, and memorable with a hopefully obvious link between the specialist agent and their domain. Lexi to lexicon, Ali to A11Y, Cody for code, so on and so forth. Longer names, just would make everything harder. So if we want the agents to thrive, we need the agents to seamlessly blend into our work and not trip us up whenever we try to speak of them. Well, the blobs were designers. Why waste an opportunity to get a bit playful, get some new stickers, diving into AI should at least be fun. And by the way, shout out to our manager, Sophia, who designed the blobs, and has been our top supporter, brainstormer, partner for the squad. So thank you, Sophia.
All right, and now we'll come again to bore you with the theory. So let's take a look at what's actually going on under the hood, beneath the blob. So when we first started, working on the agents, we decided that we needed to do more than simply put them into the wild. So we needed a framework, introducing method to tone down the madness. By now it's probably obvious that we need it, and appealing to our audience's iterative and experimental mindset, baking in those guardrails that we were speaking of earlier, and providing us a way also to help the agents evolve and multiply safely, ethically, with quality and consistency. So we have some principles for our agents. baked into their configuration, starting with confirm the ask. This means that the agent is configured to, once you ask a prompt, they will acknowledge the request, and they will verify with you that they interpreted everything correctly. And this includes any context that you share, and also even making sure that it's within their scope. And second principle, agents will also proactively identify any limitations they see with their ability to fulfill your request. Again, trying to introduce some guardrails. And third, if they are missing critical context, the agents should be asking you for it. You need to provide some information on goals, on constraints. They should be asking you for it.
And speaking of context, we also defined each agent's knowledge base. So they all have a mix of OLX-specific guidelines, like our design system, glossary, technical architecture, and also industry-recognized standards like European Union Act, Nielsen-Norman group references, gov.uk, best practices, and a lot more. And one cool thing about the squad is that by design, the agents are actually aware of each other. They know that they exist, and they are actually prepared to refer a designer to another agent in case it identifies an opportunity or a need. The agents can also provide designers with a prompt. That's also cool. This is especially useful because design challenges often require input from multiple domains instead of just one. Ali and Lexi are actually a great example. I think they're best friends by now. They overlap quite a bit, and like take ARIA labels, for example, they require both content and accessibility considerations. Also worth noting, so agents refer to each other, but they're also prepared to identify topics that require input from actual humans, like other designers, engineers, PMs, and legal teams. If needed, agents will also point designers in that direction. And our main goal and measures of success are super simple, at least for now. Are designers interacting with the agents, yes or no? And second, do designers find them useful? And do they increase their confidence in these specialist domains?
Okay, for the sake of time, I will not start speaking like Scatman, but I will zip through them. So measures of success are not enough. There can be indicators that the agents need to be fine-tuned or that the framework isn't working, although we don't want to talk about that after all of this. But yes, positive and negative. With the negative signals, most importantly, is hallucinations creeping into actual design work and deliverables, designers becoming over-reliant on the agents, and as a consequence, collaborating less with their stakeholders. And finally, we felt that principles shouldn't be only for our agents. Designers, we need them too. If we're going to help every designer to dive more confidently into AI, we need principles for our designers.
First principle, ownership stays with you. Only designers can make a final decision when it comes to their designs.
Second principle, think before you trust. Like Gosha was saying earlier, remember that AI speaks confidently even when wrong, so always filter the output.
Context drives quality. With AI, it's garbage in, garbage out. So the better the context, the better the output.
And I think I'm the only one speaking about collaboration. Collaborate, don't isolate, all right? The agents are here to help you become a better collaborator, not become a lone wolf.
And finally, stay human and be strategic. Every interaction with AI comes with a cost. Sometimes we forget about this. So it can have ethical, environmental, and human implications. So use it wisely. So the squad has been live and testing for a little while now. And there were some challenges that we didn't really anticipate. We were able to integrate the agents with our Slack, which I thought was very convenient. And it turns out that I was wrong. Most people prefer to use AI in private, which in retrospect, maybe it makes sense. I love this quote from our designer. She said, "Sometimes I have really dumb conversations with Lexi. If I did that in public, I'd be fired." And it's understandable. This poses a challenge for us, though, because it makes it harder to track outputs and iterate on the agents, so that's why collaboration is so important. And we also realize that no matter how crafted your guidelines are, no matter how much you stress what an agent does or doesn't do, people are going to ask whatever the hell they want. In this case, one of the designers, she asked Lexi to translate something for her, which, as you know now, Lexi's not prepared to do, and Lexi said no to her kind request.
Yeah, and designers will also go to great lengths to get whatever they want. Like, we had a designer that was actually testing Gambit's boundaries, just to mess with me, I think, by asking Gambit to think about the meaning of life. And Gambit said no, which made me happy, and then she asked him if Gambit would mind building a UX strategy for discovering the meaning of life, and Gambit complied. But yeah, we also had some good surprises. Yeah, the squad is looking promising. We've had some really good feedback from the team that tells us we're in the right direction. Some agents performing better than others, but that's also to be expected. And a huge thank you to everybody who's been helping testing and providing feedback. And yeah, designers are creatives, right? And they come up with solutions to problems. And they're also coming up with new use cases all the time. So we can expect to see a good speed of improvement for our agents, which is really exciting.
And the agent bug is actually spreading. New agents are popping up in our team, and we're already in talks with the designers who created them to maybe try to incorporate them into our squad.
Cool, so where do we go from here? Am I zipping? Okay. Only at the end, you saw that? Sorry. We're over time, and I apologize, we'll make it quick. Our agents are,
We're good? Oh, we're good. We're good.
Bonus. I assume it's not being bad, or they were told like, but our agents are already live and in testing with a small control group. But we're actually working on the next steps already. So for testing, from tomorrow, we're opening the agents to all of OLX design. So, yeah. Thank you. I made the pause, so all right, for the whoop. But yes, we're also looking into integrations. We were actually hoping to bring the integration with Figma MCP today, but time ran short. But that is in the works. And we're also hoping at other venues for integrating the agents with other tools in our workflows. We're also hoping to coordinate within the team and leverage everybody's brain power to build internal resources that will make the agents better. And Lorena and I, for now it's only us, will be actively supporting everybody who is looking to onboard the agents and start using them. And
so if you work at OLX, you can help us exercise the squad, use these agents, let us know how it goes, have fun. We're also having like an open call for new agents. If you have an idea for one, reach out. Inez actually created our own meta agent to help you build your own agents, so we've gone that deep.
Just another way to call me a nerd.
And finally, Inez and I don't want to babysit these agents forever. We want to hand them over to designers that are interested in becoming a champion in each specific domain. If that's you, reach out.
Cool, but there's a lot of non-OLX faces here, so what's in it for you? We can't share the agents, they're built into our internal platform, but we are going to share the configuration drafts, the prompts that actually make the agents work. We're going to share them with all of you. We're also going to share with you a one-pager that describes the framework and the principles that we told you or bored you about. And we would also welcome you to reach out to us. If you think this is something that makes sense for you or for your teams, your organization, reach out to either of us or both of us, and we're happy to have a chat anytime. So yeah, we're coming to an end. So where do we really go from here? And nobody's ever been that excited to speak to either of us before, so thank you for that. Now, we came to do a talk about AI agents. It was also important that we also talk about ethics. It became, as we were building this presentation, it became quite obvious that as we are advocating for a responsible, strategic use of AI, we became kind of addicted to generating illustrations and images along the way. But out of our concern for ethical design, we are going to be sharing the images that we created for the whole team, and we're going to be reusing these as much as we possibly can. But to be frank, we're still figuring everything out, right?
We are.
Everything is moving really fast. We had 2 talks that addressed all of this anxiety and the ways that we can actually put AI to good use. But to be fair, there's hardly a concern about AI that we don't share. When we were first approached to do this masterclass, we were really unsure about it. And that was not just because of the microphone and the live stream and the number of eyeballs here right now, but posing ourselves as some kind of ambassador for AI when we ourselves are still figuring things out, it was a bit of a daunting task. But what we realized along the way is it's really not about the tool. It's about who uses it. The tools are not going to change the way we work, but the way we define the way we work with these tools will. And I think our takeaway for you is you don't need to be fully on board with AI. You don't need to know everything about it to get started. Find like the smallest thing you can do right now. And if you understand the risks, if you see potential and opportunity, and if you have an idea, just give it a try. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Like 7 minutes over time.
That was amazing, Ines, Lorena. And now we'll have to wait for Pix a bit more while we set up the place for the Q&A. I also want to connect a bit with my initial reflections. So this is kind of the behavior we expect from our design team. You've seen what Andre, Goshe, Lorena, and Ines have shared today. And I think Ines and Lorena just put it like super well. We are trying, right? We are trying to figure things out. There's a lot of noise, a lot of hype, and we are just exploring how to anticipate what is coming. We don't want to wait for it. We want to address it as a team and as a community. And that's why today we are sharing a lot of this with you guys. And also, one of the things I talked at the beginning was shifting the mindset. And you can have very clear examples on the mindset that we have in our team. And if I want you to walk away from this masterclass tonight, is to really have a growth mindset and genuine curiosity. If you are not familiar with what we shared today, that's okay. But tomorrow you can start a journey. So once again, I want to give a very strong round of applause to the presenters for the amazing presentations they gave today. And I would also like to invite Ines, Lorena, Goshe, and Andre to the stage so we can kickstart the Q&A. You can tell we are designers. There's perfect symmetry here.
Okay. I thought that we cannot split you.
Yeah. I was using this as a microphone. We're just waiting to get the questions on the screen. No worries. I can stand up here. That's okay. I can do it here. I can read the questions. No problem. So the first question coming from the audience. Just give us a sec. Yeah. Here we are. So the first question is very polite. He's even saying hi, which is great. Which AI tools do you recommend for product designers for prototyping? And probably this goes to Goshe or someone else that's prototyping.
Hello. Okay, I can do it without. So when it comes to prototyping, I think that it depends, because I was using Figma Make, and I was using Lovable as well, but actually they both work for me. But in Figma Make, I started with a really simple prompt. And then I was just iterating and iterating and iterating. And I reached the limit, of course. And then I end up with not satisfying results with my prototype. But then I was smarter. And in Lovable, first I created really detailed prompt. And I don't know, I used maybe 2-3 iterations, and then the prototype was done. So it really depends, because it's not about the tools, as we are saying on the presentations as well. It's about how you are learning to use them. And to be honest, in my opinion, it doesn't matter which tool you will use. Probably there are some pros and cons. And to be honest, I'm not so familiar to know like every pro and every con when it comes to each of those tools. But I will encourage you to first take care of the quality of your prompts. But here Ines is really good.
That was good. No, that was good.
Yeah, maybe someone wants to add, Andre.
And that's it.
I think you guys can take this one and move
The
on.
next one.
So the next one is, if AI is making designers more effective, how is their performance measured at OLX?
Well, this is actually, I think it's more a little bit for you. Yeah. It's a little bit more.
I have one already. That's a very good question. I think we're still figuring out as well, right? I think, again, based on what was shared today, we consider AI a tool. Right? It's not something that will make. We're not taking AI as a. Oh, thank you. That's right. I can sit here now. I don't think we look at AI as the sole differentiator, right? I think performance is still being measured the same way. So it's obviously multifactorial, the way we review performance. And this has obviously a lot of variables, like from the goals that are set from a business perspective, the goals that each team is having as well. Also a lot of the expectations we have based on the seniority and the career blueprint. So I wouldn't say AI is kind of changing that. We're still basing things as they were before. Then the next one.
I can pick it up.
Do OLX product designers vibe code, or do developers vibe code designs? Are your roles starting to acquire each other?
Yeah, so that's a little bit of what I talked about in my presentation. Yeah, sometimes like roles get a little bit blurry, and I think that's normal. It depends on the context, honestly. For example, in my team, we do vibe code. For example, when we want to have a really complex interaction really well clarified for our developers, because many times it will not be super clear if we just do it on Figma and then we do the handover, and it has to have a bunch of iterations. So I guess it depends on the context. But yeah, in general, we are, yes, using those tools in many contexts, being that user testing, handovers to developers, checking general ideas for different solutions. I would say that, yeah, that this is happening for sure.
Cool. Next one. What tools, sources do you use to figure out the best prompt? Any tips? Who wants to take this one?
I can start a little bit. I mean, a lot of the times I use AI itself. It's like, I want to do this. What should I ask you in order for you to tell me this? So it's kind of, it's a reverse engineering kind of a little bit. And I know that there are some tools that I've been wanting to experiment, but I haven't yet. I think there's one called Prompt, something like that, which exists, but I can't tell you if it's good because I haven't used it yet. But yeah, I think I usually just use AI for this myself. It's because I think the AI knows better than us, what we need to give them in order for them to give
what we want from them. That was confusing. But yeah, I think that's what I would say. Anyone else?
Probably in the meantime, something that we did as well, which I think AI can really support this, is building internal tools, right? So we actually vibe coded a prompt repository in which we share a lot of the prompts we use. And I think that's also a good way of sharing good practices, good prompts with the rest of the team.
Yeah, and I can only add, like, that's one of the things that went into building the agents is it's AI. It can advise you on writing good prompts. So each agent has a prompt library. We'll expand it as we go. And if you don't know, like, you're talking to Gambit, you don't know what to ask, you can just ask Gambit, like, how can I ask you to do this effectively? And they do that. But yeah, ask AI, I guess.
Yeah. I will add only and test it.
Yes.
And test it, because then results will show you if this is a good prompt or not.
Yeah. So next one we have, what patterns do designers focus on when defining design system AI patterns?
Anyone?
Andre, maybe, on the work we did on the patterns.
Design system AI patterns? Oh, okay. But this is more to the tools or to the how we apply them on the product? Okay. What patterns do you focus on designing system AI? Oh, okay. I don't know who asked this. If you guys also want to better explain what was the question, but if this is applied to the product itself, yeah, we are honestly constantly kind of having multiple sessions across different roles to clarify how can we actually deliver specifically Gen AI experiences to our users in ways that it's actually ethical and that it's that we are like clarifying them of what they are using in which times. And I think that the best way it's once again to define the patterns, I would say test with the users. Actually, we have doing this a lot. We actually go and talk with them and understand what they fear the most, what are their constraints, and then with that we are able to better define what they don't want, what they need, what they don't need, and then from that we can actually build the patterns. I think that kind of answers it, I hope.
Cool. The next one.
What do you think are risks of roles and responsibilities blurring? Already nowadays there are challenges around RICs. What are your thoughts around this? I can start, but then you can help. This was also a question that we were asking ourselves, right, on the teams. And that's the thing, is like, none of us are like masters at AI. We are like learning things as they go as well. And so I think that one thing that was really important, that it was actually our leadership team created a framework that helps us understand who does what and how can the roles blur, but everyone has their ownership secured and really well defined. And that gives ability for us to be versatile in the way we work, but not get to the point that we don't know exactly who does what and who calls which shots. Do you want to complement?
No, I think you covered already. One thing that we always talk about, and especially when it comes to prototyping, and Andre mentioned that he came back from holidays and all of a sudden there was a prototype in the table, right? And I do see that as a great opportunity, right, to welcome other functions into what we do, right? Probably in the past we were spending a lot of time, commenting Google Docs, right, PRDs, strategy docs, and there was a lot of time that we were losing in there, because obviously with words comes a lot of ambiguity and misinterpretation, right? And sometimes a prototype is way more tangible, right? There's a lot of more fruitful discussions we can have upon this artifact, and the way I see it, we should truly welcome PMs, engineers, product analysts, everyone that wants to make their ideas tangible, so we can start the discussion from there. So I think it's a great opportunity for us. This is kind of our game, right? So I think it's a great moment for us to shine and then really contribute from there. Any other thoughts? So next one. We know AI tools like ChatGPT tend to lie and make up information like quotes. Do you double check all info that comes from your prompts or use them blindly? Maybe Darko.
Can I just start by saying something, which is for the tools that I already use in my team, which are not the ones that they presented, apparently I'll be using them in the future, is that all of them, when they are all based on information that we already have. So everything has references and sources. And so we don't tend to use these tools to get new information, more to organize information that we already have and consume it better. So I think that just as a starting point.
Yes, I double check all the info that comes from prompts, and I don't use them blindly. I think that's what's the most daunting thing to me, specifically about Lexi, is because I'm really scared that it might say something incorrect, and that has happened, and it is happening. Like, for instance, there was this one thing that Lexi said, so about the style guide. A couple of designers, two different designers at two different moments asked Lexi, how should I write prices? Should I use commas or periods as the decimal separator? And she gave the wrong information. And I was the one to point it out on their prototype. And they were like, but Lexi told me that I should use periods instead of commas. I said, okay. So it's a very daunting thing, and it's hard to get right. And I think that's when, at least in this particular example, it's really useful that people share these results. And even us, we constantly need to stress test these agents and see what the hell they're saying to people. But in terms of the agents, I would say to the designers that use our agents, like, if you feel that something is wrong, just double check, report it. Although that's sometimes actually really hard to do, because I think people expect our agents to have the correct information, but sometimes that still doesn't happen. But yeah, don't trust AI info blindly.
Yeah, but I think that goes with not just ChatGPT, right? I think every AI tool, like, I think this is a really good question, because there's something that it's a bit risky, which is critical thinking, right? And I think it's very important that we all, still apply critical thinking, right? And we don't just rely on AI to solve, everything. So yeah, definitely we do check things.
I just wanted to say one more thing, and even outside of AI, of course, we are not going to just accept something blindly, even if it came from reputable sources. We always need to check. And that has to do with what you guys explored in your presentation, which is being strategic. It also has to do with analyzing the risks. If something does not go well, then probably that's not the place. If something goes unwell, if the risks are too high, that's probably not the place to use AI. But yeah.
Cool. So next one, Masha, thank you for adding your name there. That's super helpful. So who is responsible in OLX for creating SMD managing AI agents?
I think it was and. Yeah, it was supposed to be an and.
Ah, okay. I don't know those kinds of agents. So let's go again. Who is responsible in OLX for creating and managing AI agents? What specialists take place in the process? Thank you. Maybe Lorena, Ines, you want to share a bit of your experience?
Yeah. Well, in our case, the internal tool that was created by Prozis, our mother company, it allows anyone in OLX to create agents, so anyone can do it in the company. In our case, we did it ourselves, so I created Lexi, and Ines created the other 4 little agents. And yeah, go ahead.
Cool. Yeah. So the squad, it kind of started with us. So we got it going from the start. We worked on the framework because we felt it would help and make sense. But like we said, we don't want to babysit these guys forever. And the idea is that we we are actually seeing this as a vehicle for growth. Like if you're a designer at OLX and you're a specialist in any of these areas, we're going to be pinging you and your managers to understand whether you're interested in taking charge. And even if you're not a specialist, but you're very interested in dark patterns, accessibility, whatever, and you want to grow in that area, then I would highly encourage you to get involved. We see this as a huge vehicle for growth. And the handlers, because we call them the agent handlers, would be like probably the ones leading the charge.
Yeah. Cool. So next one. Did you already work with UX Pilot? How was the experience? No?
No. I haven't.
The answer is we haven't worked with the UX Pilot.
Which is fine.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
fine, yeah.
Next one. What do you expect to see in a junior product designer who is looking for their first job and is very curious and want to work in product design and with AI? I can take this one.
Yeah.
I have already a flag in my body. So I think, first and foremost, I think it's a very good thing that you're asking this question, which again goes back to what I shared before in terms of the mindset and the curiosity, so your question makes me happy. I think that the second thing is that you are here, right, which is great because you move out of your comfort zone and decided to come to the Masterclass and learn more about AI and how this can amplify what product designers do, which is great. So I think the expectations are probably not that different from what we expect from a junior designer even before AI, right? Obviously, there's something that is super important, which is connected to the AI fluency or literacy that the team talked about. But on a junior level, I wouldn't expect a lot of knowledge. Again, I will personally pay more attention, and probably this is regardless of seniority, right? This is something I normally do and I expect my team to do, is to get the right signals on the candidate's mindset, right? And appetite for learning. I think that is the most important thing. If you have that, then the rest will come. You will learn about AI. Today is AI, tomorrow is going to be something different, right? So going back to the question and what I said before, and I'm going to make it, I'm going to repeat it again so you guys walk away with this message. Shift your mindset, right? Try to expand it. I recommend this book to probably everyone I met at OLX, which is Growth Mindset by Carol Dweck. If you haven't read it, that's amazing because probably that book will going to change your life. And then stay curious, learn. Try to get 1% better every day. You don't need to get this right all of a sudden. We are not, experts here. We are trying to get better every day, and that's kind of the message I want to convey. So next one. Do you use any AI tools for accessibility? I think currently we don't. Of course, what is happening now, most of you might be familiar with the regulation that is coming. So we did an audit this year, a really big one, because obviously we needed to fix all the problems we had. And now what the team is exploring, how we can truly automate that process moving forward. So how can we have more regular audits moving forward? And I think AI will play a big role in there. So next one, don't you think content designers will stop being hired? I already saw a lot of people saying that with AI, content designers / UX writers aren't needed anymore. I don't know who's going to respond to this question.
Why are you passing me the microphone? It's the million-dollar question, but I'll start by saying that I think we have yet to live in a world where enough content designers are hired to begin with. I think it's a constant, and unless you don't count your Googles and your Metas and those huge companies, I don't think any other company has enough content designers. And I think you can argue that for a lot of positions, but I think it's a constant thing with content design. So I think we kind of already live in a reality when there are never enough content designers, and I think I'll circle back to what you said at the very beginning of the event. I think if content designers are also able to keep up with these AIs and learn how to use these AI tools, they'll still be just as valuable as a product designer. I really don't think, I think there are a lot more opportunities than there are risks, and obviously there are risks as well, but I think it really depends on the mindset. I know it was really scary to create an agent and to put it out there. Trust me, it really is, but it's kind of life right now. So, yeah, I don't think so, and I hope not.
I'm taking it back because I felt guilty about passing the mic. Because I think all of us who work with content designers should be the first ones to argue for their value and impact. Every 19 of us product designers who work with Lorena, we are so thankful, and we know the value that she brings to the experiences we craft. So.
And I want to say one more thing. I think we talked a lot about this with Lorena throughout the year, right? And I think this is also connected with what she mentioned and what Andre talked about in his presentation, which is if you are the type of content designer that just wants to fix content here and there and wants to stay at the surface level, probably you will struggle a lot. But then if you're like Lorena or like Zuza or Dana or Bartek, Marta, the people in our team, A players, all of them, that are very curious to really make a difference and move the needle and get involved in strategic discussions and really look at content as a very a very strong strategic player in that discussion. I think roles and names will change, will evolve. It has always been like that. But then what sticks is the value you're bringing to the table, right? And I think regardless of the role, I know the value that Lorena brings. I know her brain, right? Her mindset. And I think this will stay forever, right? She will stay relevant forever. And that's why circling back to what I said before, this is all about mindset, right? This is all about understanding what you can bring to the discussion rather than focusing on, cosmetics or, just staying on top of the surface.
I just want to finish off by, I'm not sure if you noticed in Andres' presentation that even OpenAI is hiring content designers. So even that big company that launched this thing into our lives, they recognize the value of content design, and AI is not getting in the way of that. So it's a good insight.
Definitely. So next one, AI is reshaping product design. What tools, Figma plugins, resources, or advice do you recommend for new designers to stay current and stand out?
I will not tell you any names of specific tools, but I can tell you that what matters for you to stay on the loop is trying to stay on the loop. It's basically that. If you search for it, we all know how the internet works, right? The algorithm. If you start looking for it, it will appear for you on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on general ads. So you will be on the loop. And I will not tell you a specific tool, because these days these things change so much in like 1 month that it's, once again, as you said, not about the tools. It's about how you use them.
Someone wants to add?
I think my biggest advice there would be to leverage the community. There's too much happening too fast. What we do a lot in our team is we share, like Gosha did here today. So you don't have to explore everything and know everything, but if you focus on what is manageable for you, like sign up to a couple of newsletters, follow a few people that post content that you like, I would advise you to find varied perspectives. Like maybe try to find the one that has a really good understanding of risks, while another one is a lot more playful and experimental. But I would just say share, like, and be open-minded and be like proactively seek out these these events and these kinds of conversations?
I wanted to add something concrete, maybe. Recently, I did a workshop or bootcamp about AI, how you can use AI in the design process. It was from Memorizely, if I am pronouncing it correctly. Yeah, Memorizely.
You are.
Yeah, so I think I would recommend you to try it because it's really nice. It's like a 4-week process that you can go through the lessons, and then you have some practical things to do. And part of the work that I have done for the research was from there. I reused this in my work, and I think maybe it's also good to check some of courses that you can find online. Of course, there's big hype, like everyone is sharing something that you can learn, and it's really hard to validate if it's nice or not. But this one, I will recommend you. I will find out the title of the. It's something like use AI in design process or something like that. And probably they have still some open sources for that.
Awesome. I think we have a timer here, and I think we have reached the time. So if you're hungry, that is great because we have some pizzas to share. And again, hopefully we can spark some good discussions in the room.
I was just going to say that AI cannot replace pizza, right?
Exactly. But I wanna thank you, all of you, for joining us today. I think it was amazing to see the room super packed with all of you. And again, I want to ask for yet another big round of applause for these people that shared their amazing work today. You can send that, and we can do about. So thank you all, and we'll be sharing the recording afterwards as well. And now let's enjoy some good pizza. And thank you.